Hey everyone, I'm Kevin with Victory 4x4. In today's video, we're going to install our bedside MOLLE panel in this 2024 Chevy Silverado. We're going to start things off by assembling our panel. It's made up of two pieces, so I have what will be the rear section here, leaving this other section to go toward the front of the vehicle. You're going to start by just overlaying one over the top, lining up the three mounting holes that you see here. Doesn't really matter which one goes on top, just if you're installing a pair, one on each side, just kind of make sure you're doing the same way for the best appearance there. And then you'll bolt these together with the shorter 1/2 inch long 1/4 20 button heads along with serrated flange nuts from your bolt pack. Once you have all three of those started, you'll grab a 5/32 hex to tighten them up. From there, on the rear panel section, you're going to have two logo plates to install. So I have the there and back logo plate going on the bottom down here. You can slide it on the back side of the panel and install it using the stainless number 10 screws. You'll then tighten that up with an 1/8 inch hex. And then in the same fashion, you can install your Victory logo on the top side of the panel right up here. From there, you have two of these rubber bumper brackets to install. So you first will take the bracket and the rubber bumper. You'll have to slide this in. You may have to twist it to work it into this hole. And if you're having any troubles with these, a small pick or even just a little bit of WD-40 will help these slide in. But if you just work at them for a minute, they're not too bad. You can then take a short 1/4 20 button head and slide the bracket in behind this slot on the rear panel section, and essentially just centering it up in the slot with the bracket oriented vertically. You can tighten this up. The front bracket will install into this slotted hole location in the same fashion. With the panel assembled, we now need to remove this upper bed rail cover from your truck bed. The way you're going to do that is essentially just pulling up to release the reusable clips you have in here from the factory. A plastic pry tool like I have here is pretty helpful during this process. So I'm just starting by pulling up here as well as inside of here with my pry tool. And we're just going to slowly work our way along the rail, releasing all of these clips. With all of those free, this will lift off pretty easily and can be set off to the side until the end of your install. With that out of the way, you now need to identify the three mounting holes we're going to use up here on top of the bed rail to install the three upper mounting brackets. So the first one is going to be the front hole in this pair of holes that you see kind of tight together here. We've got it marked out with a gold Sharpie, as well as the other two holes along the way. Once you identify that, the easiest thing to do is to grab your panel and just line it up roughly with that hole location using the 1/4 inch slotted holes along the top. And you can then do that same thing as you just follow the panel back to identify the next round hole here for your second mounting location, as well as the third mounting hole here, which is very similar to the front. It's the forward mounting hole in a close together pair. So these are the mounting brackets you're installing at each of those locations. They're going to have a pre-installed nut on what will be the bottom for the panel to mount to. You're then going to use the upper mounting slot along with the 5/16 bolts, washers, and serrated flange nuts in your bolt pack. So you'll slide this in underneath, drop your bolt and washer down through the top, and then have to reach in here and thread that nut into place. You want to be able to adjust these later on once the panel's installed, so we're just going to hand tighten that for now so that the nut will bite in when we go to tighten things up, but we can still slide that bracket in and out. You can then repeat that process with the remaining two brackets in the remaining hole locations. With the upper brackets in, we'll move on to the lowers. For that, you're going to need some sort of pry tool to remove the three kind of oval shaped clips or hole plugs down here. You'll then need to assemble the lower brackets. So you're going to have the outer U bracket, the threaded backer plate, if you will, and a 5/16 button head with a washer. So you'll take the backer plate, slide it in behind the U-bracket and install the 5/16 bolt. Leaving that a little bit loose, you'll take this whole assembly and slide it into the slotted hole out here on the side. You want to make sure that you're centered up as best as possible, both front to rear as well as vertically to start off here. Just keep in mind that you may have to adjust these a little bit later on. And you can snug this up to hold it in place with a 3/16 hex. You'll then just need to repeat that process for the remaining 2 brackets in the remaining 2 holes. With all our mounting brackets in place, we can now grab the panel and hang it on the brackets using the remaining 1/2 inch long 1/4 button heads. I like to start with the center top hole here and then get the remaining 2 kind of outside top holes so that we can secure the top 3 brackets and then make our final adjustments on these lower mounts. So with the 3 top bolts started, we'll tighten them up, which should line up our 3 top brackets and kind of square them up to the panel. We can then make our minor adjustments to line up our lower brackets. So there is plenty of access to reach through the panel here with your 3/16 hex. And then you can manipulate this as needed to line up and install the remaining 1/4 inch hardware. So once you're happy with the adjustment of your lower brackets and you've got all 6 of the mounting bolts installed there, be sure to come back in and tighten these up with your 3/16, and then you can come through and tighten your remaining 1/4 inch hardware at all 3 locations. At this point, you do still have just a little bit of slotted adjustability in your 3 upper mounting brackets, so you can pull the top of the panel in or out as needed to kind of square it up with the outside of the bed, and then tighten those up as well. At this point, it's a good idea to just run back through and double check that all of your hardware is tight throughout the panel and mounting brackets, and then you can reinstall your upper bed rail cap by simply lining everything up, making sure it's kind of dropped into place, and then starting one end to the other, just pressing it down, securing all of these factory clips. If you're installing a pair of these bedside panels, you'll just repeat this process over on the other side. And as always, if you guys have any questions at all about this installation or anything else we offer here at Victory 4x4, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always send us an email at info@victory4x4.com or call us at 269-459-8447.